Hello and welcome to the Agile Innovation Leaders podcast. I'm Ola Ojako. On this podcast, I speak with world-class leaders and doers about themselves and a variety of topics spanning agile, lean innovation, business, leadership, and much more, with actionable takeaways for you, the listener. So I have with me here Victor Nwadu, who is an agility strategist, Agile Coach, everything in between, maestro. Victor, it's an honor to have you on the Agile Innovation Leaders podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ola. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yeah, so just tell us, Victor, about your background. What are the things that you've experienced that have shaped you into who you are today and how you've ended up to where you are professionally?
Yeah, I mean, just cutting through the flow, I'm from Nigeria. I'm also, like all Nigerians, educated in Nigeria, and then for some, reason, found myself here in the UK. If I wanted to pick on anything that has, brought me to where I am and what has driven me to who I am today, I think it's my childhood, right? Coming to working class parents, Catholic people that work hard for everything they got. And as a Nigerian, you're told it's instilled in you from a very young age what the benefits of hard work is. But unfortunately, I was traumatized at the age of 13 by the death of my mom. So, left with 5 siblings and my dad, who was broken by the course of events. That young age, getting to where I am, having to, do what I had to do to get to school and all that, and still have these 5 siblings with me as well.
Because you're the first.
Yes, I'm the first. You know how it is, especially when you are Igbo, right?
Yeah.
You're expected to be strong and do what you do. That kind of thing, So, yeah, but thank God for today. And I found myself here today talking to powerful people like yourself. And I mean, I think that has made me strong. And I miss my mom terribly, but if I look back, to be honest with you, the course of events in one's life really helps one define one's destiny. And that's how, so I believe that what I went through in life had made me stronger, So yeah, I came to the UK, became an accountant, funny enough. I did what we need to do, then I find myself being a BA, then after systems accounting, because I love computers and all that, Then found myself doing it, and I don't know if you know what SAP is.
Yes. So
I did that for a while, met a chap, a BA guy that I was doing his invoice. I saw how much was earning, and I said, "What, Jesus? I mean, tell me what to do, man." I then became a BA from that. Then became, at that time, luckily, Scrum was just coming into the industry, and I found myself doing something called a Agile BA.
Yeah.
That's how I got into Agile. Then became a Scrum Master, became an Agile Coach, and the rest is history. So that's basically it in a nutshell.
That's interesting that you started off as an accountant and now you're an Agile Coach. I mean, I'm not throwing stones. I started off as an electronic engineer and I'm an Agile Coach. But yeah, it's all about what I'm trying to also tell young people, including my children, that what you start off with doesn't necessarily mean that that's the career you're going to have for your whole life. There is a whole lot of options, but it's just about starting somewhere.
Yeah. Especially now, I say the same thing to my kids, especially my son. Now you need to be in a state of mind where you need to adapt. A lot of paradigm shifts are happening underneath us, and you need to be ready. You need to be ready to go and adapt to the present circumstances. Otherwise, and this is why we do what we do.
Yeah, and I think it starts with the mindset as well. Just having that agile mindset, not to flog it, but agility starts first with the mind.
Exactly.
What's your take on it? Because things are changing, to be able to adapt and thrive in a rapidly changing world.
Exactly. I mean, so we are living in exciting times. Like already, agility was born out of the times that we're we're living in. It all started with the internet and outsourcing and all
Of
that,
course.
and the world becoming a small village and all that. Then we then have this digital thing going on and the information age, and that brought itself all sorts of fantastic things. Things are, because we are utilizing and leveraging the power of technology, we find out that we don't need to do certain things. Unfortunately, some jobs have to go, but then new ones are coming in. So all these fantastic things happening. And again, it's affecting generations right now. If you have Generation X, like me, you would have seen at least 3 more generations in your time when these changes are happening. It's crazy. How do we survive? You survive by adapting. If you don't adapt, you become obsolete.
Extinct.
So, exactly. That are tailored into the industry and the way we work. And even now, talking to you, I'm working from home. I have a home office, and that makes it even more fantastic because I can work anywhere in the world, right? So what it does now is that it creates a bigger competition, right? Where anybody can apply for any job anywhere in the world. It also helps the earth. And I don't want to go into that working from home debate, but that's all these things that are happening as the consequences of the various paradigm shifts that are happening. So we need to adapt, like you said, in the mind. Our mind needs to be open to change.
Yeah.
And we need to put ourselves in a place where we leverage all the advantages of those changes for our own benefits. And so, yeah.
Well said, Victor. I completely associate with what you've said so far, and the changes that are happening, especially with technology. For example, the recent one that's making waves is like AI. So we're now in, someone said we're in the knowledge information age, but now it's something like augmented age. So it's not just about the information, but it's also about being able to leverage technology like AI to still do productive work. So but it still ties back with being adaptable, being able to learn and unlearn, to remain creative, because machines are not taking over anytime soon.
They can't take over the creative aspect, and we need to automate and become the competitive edge now is about who does things quicker, who gets to the market quicker, and who gets to the customer quicker, who satisfies the customer in terms of the value threshold. So that's what we are. The creative part will still be the same. If you don't have creative guys in your design and engineering design or software design, you're still going to fall back into that obsolete group of people that don't change or are not changing as quickly as they should. So I agree totally with that.
Thank you. I know we went off into a rabbit hole, but I did want to just take you a little bit back to what you said earlier when you were talking about the things that happened to you that shaped you into who you are. And you mentioned your mom's death at 13. I'm really sorry about that. I can't imagine how tough it would be, because my son just turned 13 and I can't imagine the difficulty it must be. Well, you did say it must have been for you. You said events in one's life defines one's destiny. Yeah. So my twist would be, because the same thing could happen to 2 different people and you have 2 different outcomes. So could there be something about how they react to it as well? Because it's
obviously, the way people react is the key, right? So one person could react, I've reacted, okay, fine. You hit the ground, you fall and you cry and you get traumatized. Then you kind of rebuild yourself and stand up and keep going. And some people stay in that trough. Some teams just stay there. They never rise above, so some people, not because it's their fault, maybe the environment, maybe because resources that are not there to guide them, to help them stand up, we're not the same. So I just happen to be who I am. It's hopefully strong enough to be able to lead myself from that trough.
Well, you inspire me, and I know that you are an inspiration to many other people as well. So thank you for sharing your story. So you did put together this model, Agile Culture Model, A.P.I.A.M.R.A.T.S. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Actually, I have a lot of calls on that. So it's something that, been on my mind, the pet project, purely because, some people are saying, are you trying to create another Agile? No, it's not. It's just like a clarion call to people that are coming to Africa and the Middle East to engage in a transformation process. We're looking at the way Agile is. When the forefathers of Agile went to Utah to dream up this fantastic thing, I'm sure they were not thinking about Africa. They were thinking from their own Western perspective, right? And we Africans, Agilists and change agents from Africa, we know that things we've learned from what the manifesto and the principles have taught us are not that straightforward from where we come from. So it manifests itself with many of my colleagues in the West that have gone to Africa and met these challenges and have complained. And I say, yes, it's because we are totally different. The mindset is different. The Western mindset is totally different. So I've kind of modeled it more to Africa and Middle East, and mainly to Nigeria and South Africa, because that's where I got most of my data from. And it's A.P.I.A.M.R.A.T.S it's actually Agile practice in Africa and the Middle East. And the rats, I get also sleep from my friends. The rats is just, when I kind of listed out the main things, the main factors, some of them not that bad, some of them the bad ones. It just, the best way I could figure it out to create a sound bite was, it came out as rats. So you have you have your religious intrusion. The R is religious intrusion. The A is an age respect paradox, and the T obviously time. The other one is secrecy calls, and the fifth one, which I've added on later on, was language. Right. To leverage language and that kind of stuff, right? So the religious one is the effect of religion in the way we work. If you go to any African, or if you go to Nigeria today now, you will see, say for example, people doing their stand-up. The daily stand-up is that's supposed to take an average of 15 minutes. They will give an average of 5 minutes for prayers. And you know the way we pray, evangelists, sometimes things more than that. And imagine a Muslim guy in that team. Imagine a Western guy, a Western Agile coach. And like, who? Really? So you have that aspect of it. You also have the age respect paradox. So it's a paradox because, yes, while people in the West understand age and respect, in Africa and in the Middle East, we take it a notch or two. Where sometimes actually the negative aspect is that somebody that is older than you now thinks because he's older, you cannot allocate work as part of the member of the team. They feel, oh, it's an insult for you to tell them what to do, which is wrong and very crude, but it happens. It happens, So we have that, and we also have the almighty time, African. So it's not fair to call it African because the French do it. It's not labeled in such connotative terms when the French do it.
I've been to different countries, they do it. I'm not going to name it.
Exactly.
Name them. So
exactly. So the way it's been made to feel as if some kind of like we Nigerians and Africans started it. I don't really like it, but that has become something that of note and something that has been kind of embedded itself in our culture and our behaviors. Yes, the French do it, but in social circles. However, we've kind of been brought it into professional lives where we lack that discipline for some reason of keeping exact to time, and that itself, we obviously, as you and I know, has an effect of cost of delay and all that kind of stuff.
And morale as well.
The fourth one is secrecy calls. For some reason, we don't share knowledge, and I'm happy Agile has brought the fact that we need, when we bring transformation into an organization, part of it is making an organization, at the end of the day, a learning organization, where we collaborate. And collaboration means we have to share knowledge, we have to share, for us to win, okay? So, yes, so for some reason, in Africa, that doesn't take place as much as we would love to see that. The last one I've put there is language. So this one is very important for me because Sophie Oluwole, she's late now, but she's one of the people that have kind of evangelized the need for us Africans to get rid of the Western language like English or French. We should start teaching our kids chemistry, maths, and everything. The academic knowledge journey should start with our local language. It's easier on the brain, it's less stressful, and then we can learn English later on. Or however, we shouldn't waste time to learn a foreign language, then start learning the basics of academia, right? If you look at it, the time frame itself is a waste in terms of agile thinking, right? So for me, I brought it into an agile space because you find out that I have worked across global teams, right? And when, as an agile coach, you give teams freedom to please and design within yourself with your local language. Only come to me when you need me, and then you will normally find a language champion that will do the translation or whatever.
Yes.
So, and you find out that it's easy, the engagement is easier, and they are loving you for giving them that freedom. So I'm bringing it to Africa, to be the way we work in Africa, so that we as teams we don't become too stressed or thinking of how we sound when we speak English. When we are designing, we are talking about, and when we are in an agile space, we are talking about and discussing with our local language. We are free, and you find that the mind is less stressed. So these ideas just keep flowing. The brainstorming session is fantastic, lively, because you don't have to, let me think of how I'm going to structure this my idea in English before I have to speak. It just comes out like that. It's easier. So I think we have more benefits if we trace ourselves back into our local language. Yeah, especially the team is regional and everybody there is speaking the same language. So that's
I was going to get there. It seemed like you read my mind. I was going to say, but what if the team, because in Nigeria there are over 200 languages or 200 ethnic groups. Since we've started off with Nigeria, what happens? Because you might still have to go to a shared common language.
I mean, that's a very good question. I mean, that's So, but the thing is, like most African, especially in India, places like India, and even in the Middle East, we have a kind of broken English. We have a local slang anyway. That is a kind of, it's mixed with English. Like in Africa,
Pidgin.
Yes, Pidgin. We call it Pidgin. It's a mixture of Creole and Hausa, Wazobia kind of thing going on there with English. Everybody already speaks that language. Why don't we use that? You say that's a tiebreaker anyway. Why don't we use that? So but realistically, when you go to places like Enugu or Kaduna, they tend to be of that particular region. But if we have a third person there that's from another place, let's use our local vernacular to break that ice in terms of the way we speak and communicate. Yeah. So that's my answer to that.
Okay. And where you have someone, if there's only maybe one person who's not of the culture, not from that country, doesn't know it, where does inclusion come in here?
To the highly unlikely, but however, it happens because of the small village that we have now, a global village that we have. I normally would have a language champion.
Okay.
Somebody within just like your agile champion in the team, you find somebody that can translate, right? Otherwise, I've developed all sorts of hacks right now, where you can use something as Google Translate.
Yeah.
Right. So when you want to give important meetings and you want to write, you just do the one in English, then translate it to their local language and just send it out. Everybody will understand, and they will come back to you. Yeah. So but it's very rare, very very rare, to find a place where the English language and French has not touched on this planet, or
Spanish.
Or Spanish. Yeah. So when that happens, we just use simple tools that are available to us. Google Translate, use an agile champion to kind of leverage and that kind of make that disability or handicap and non-existence, or minimize the impact of it in the way we communicate.
On a slightly off tangent point, in terms of languages, Mandarin is also like going up there. you can't ignore that. So what have you been working on lately? Because you've talked about the A.P.I.A.M-R.A.T.S model, why you came up with it, and how, in a little way, how it could be used. But what else have you been working on lately? that you'd like to share with the world?
Apart from work and all that, I give a lot to my people. I try to empower a lot of people. So I've created this WakandAGILITY group where it's a global support thing where we kind of give master classes to people that are coming into the industry, Scrum Masters and Agile Coaches already there, but we want to, so I kind of hold these master classes for free, actually. And because I am looking at the scope of how we can kind of make sure that as Africa develops and becomes more hungry, resource hungry, we have the resources on the ground to accommodate those requests, right?
So skilled manpower, you mean?
Exactly. We don't have it. So, and now to train up, those kind of this agile training is expensive. So that's my own way of giving back. But apart from that, I've been working with great change analysts, internationally based people like I don't know if you know her, Mary Lalinya. She's based in the UK. And we have a lovely woman that did African some time ago that invited me to Lagos, Abiodun Oshoba. We also, in fact, I think we have somebody, her name is Anu Gopal. She's even a powerhouse in Agile Alliance, I think, one of those, yeah. I also have a Topa Sule from Canada. All these guys will come together. In the last Agile 20-something, we came up with the whole government manifesto for Nigeria. And that was our presentation. It's fantastic, right? It's there on the internet right now. So, yeah, so it's people like this I'm working with. We came up with the manifesto for good governance for Nigeria and many other projects like that. So, yeah, that's what I spend my time doing behind the scene, apart from work and spending time with my family.
That's really awesome. And I'm sure some of the listeners would want to know more about it. So we'll make sure the links are in the chat. Do you still run these sessions?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
It's keeping with the requests. I have a lot of requests and,
So there is a question I have for you with respect to transformation, because as an Agile coach, I would expect that you've been involved in a number of transformation efforts with organizations in involving leaders and teams. Yeah. Can there be a sustainable transformation without vision or strategy?
Yeah. So it's possible for you to have a transformation. It's possible for that to just happen once, right? So it's like a rider, like you are told to ride through one end of the Serengeti to the other with dangerous animals and valleys and all that. With a horse, no compass, and you don't have a compass. You have a map, or maybe you don't have a map. You just face there, you get to the end, right? And you don't have a compass. You don't know the health of the horse, and you just got on that horse, and yeah, it's probable that you may be able to get to the end. But how sustainable is that? That is why the word sustainable that you use is very important. How sustainable is that for us to now create some kind of tourist pamphlets for other people to come behind us to use? It's exactly the same way. So it's very, very probable for you to run some kind of transformation rather than just win with one team or whatever. Then, where's the playbook for those coming behind you if you want to kind of multiply that, accelerate it within the organization? So that's why sustainability is important. How sustainable is that? How can we create a model, a playbook for us to use as an organization for our own peculiar transformation, right? That's why it's important for us to have vision. Yeah. We need to have a strategy, So the vision itself, first of all, is the what and the why we are doing it and all that kind of stuff. Then the strategy, the Agile strategy is very important. The Agile strategy itself is a vision plus how we are going to do it. Underneath with a time frame, how we're going to fulfill the objective required to actualize that vision, right? And with regard to the scope, timeline, cost, and the organizational culture. So that's the strategy. We need to have all that. When you have that and you place it and you start to kind of base it under the kind of your playbook of entry, the change itself, and the exit, then you have something to go with. So yeah, that's basically how it works. You cannot have a sustainable transformation without a clear vision, without a realistic strategy that kind of make sure that all these aspects of the scope itself, the objective, the goals, and then taking into consideration the culture are dealt with. You cannot have a what is known as transformation, a sustainable one without having a transformation strategy. So that's it.
You may have touched on this, but I'll say, just going back to your Serengeti crossing analogy. I mean, if you're crossing, or the person has been assigned a horse cross, that it's important to say, why are we crossing the Serengeti? Because it might be that if you evaluate the why, it might be better for you to stay where you are and don't put yourself and other people in danger and waste resources crossing just for crossing's sake.
Yeah, I mean, this all these things will come in when we are laying out the strategy, and we have the vision. Somebody comes in, I have to say, transformation is sexy nowadays. So the metaphor is dealing with the Serengeti itself is the transformation, what we assume to be all the wahala inside the transformation. However,
what is wahala? Because not everyone understands what wahala is.
Wahala means all the troubles in life, all the challenges you meet in everything. So we need to first of all understand that nowadays transformation is sexy. When many organizations, I heard the rumor that many leaders engage in the big companies engage transformation purely for the benefit of their PE ratio in the stock exchange market. It's a rumor. I haven't confirmed it, but I don't know how you can even confirm it. But I do know that it's very sexy to say your organization is carrying out its transformation. Everybody wants to be saying that that's what we are doing. So that is part of the big problem and the challenges that we face as change agents in the transformation. Because the success of the transformation depends on the leaders and the person at the top, how committed they are to it. So the commitment of that leader starts from the top. If they don't have the buy-in, if they are not convinced about it, they're just doing it for show. When push comes to shove, and it will happen, the challenges will come and hit you. Cultural challenges, personality challenges, the ego of leaders or middle managers, and all that, you will hit them. As you already know, how committed is the leader at the top to come down and say, guys, and create that space for us to be able to make this transformation happen. Because as the ultimate impediment remover, that person should be able to have the time, to have the commitment, to come down to the team level, to the whatever program level, whatever, and be able to remove that impediment for us to happen. So if this leader or sets of leaders or whoever is given the mandate to commission a transformation doesn't have total commitment, or is not bought in, is just doing it for some show or for some reason, it's not going to work.
Yeah, very true. Do you have any anonymized stories of like your experience in guiding organizations, enterprise agility or transformation journey? Because one thing you've said, transformation is sexy. It's really a buzzword. And if you ask two people and they could be in the same leadership team, C-suite team, what is transformation? And they'll give you different answers. It's just a buzzword, which means different things to different people. But what do you have any story underpinning, what you have said about leadership being key?
If I give you all the stories, you're not going to leave here, right? However, I want to make a few things very, very clear. There is just understanding in most organizations that starts their transformation journey with a few teams, as you would expect. When they succeed in that, they then call it an enterprise-wide transformation, where you take a few teams to delivering some funky, sexy innovative product,
Mm.
that is not enterprise-wide transformation. That's not business transformation or business agility, right?
Mm.
It is you showing that delivering a particular product as quickly to the customer, whatever, works using agile ways of working. So there's that misconception there. That's the number one misconception, that people think, oh, when we succeed with a few teams, we haven't, because you still need to scale it, to the entire enterprise, to non-IT enterprise, to both upstream and downstream and all that. It is when your organization as a whole, no matter how tall it is, can have a transparent view of where everything is. When an organization can adapt to news in the market very quickly, when an organization can innovate, it has the people there have been enabled to have a different idea, different mindset towards failure, and seeing failure as a learning bridge. All those kind of mindset things, but happening in a very large scale, so that the organization becomes a learning organization. Everybody's learning. We have a lot of COPs, you have a lot of, that's when you will say a transformation has been successful. That's when you can actually say the organization has transited from its traditional stoic siloed setup to where we have open collaboration, and the culture has been changed in that the mindset of people that lead and those that make things happen is one, and they have this adaptive way of behaving when something happens in the market. Nothing shocks them. Even when it does, I understand some people even have an disruptive, when you come up with an idea in your organization and you go out to the market and sell it, you become disruptive, you disrupt the market. However, some organizations as well are having anti-disruption strategies. In case somebody else comes, how quickly can we respond? So those are the kind of things that shows that an organization has actually transited from those traditional ways of working to an agile way of working. However, the other aspect I want to draw to our attention is about timing. When we are thinking of transformation, so for me, my advice is, first of all, number one, to get the top person involved in it. Timing is very, very important. You need to have time for the transformation, to start the transformation. The time when you start the transformation is very important. You don't want to start it when you have disruption in the market. Things will not happen in the normal way. And it's better for you to do transformation in peacetime, what I call peacetime, before some major disruption, so that you can leverage what you've learned from that transformation when that disruption happens. Time is very important when you are carrying out a major transformation in your organization. Okay, you need to have committed leaders that are really committed to the cause. They're not just doing it for show. And leaders should be able to come down and do Gemba works, and see that what is actually happening in the kitchen is what their executive information system is relaying to them, right? There need to be complete transparency from the top to bottom, so that we are sure that what the developers and the guys creating all our products are doing is exactly tied to the vision and objective of the executive. So that's part of it. And for me, it's commonsensical things that we already know. However, when we have transparency, this transparency increases trust. And it needs to start with the leader. He needs to show transparency by example, right? So it increases trust, and trust enables organization-wide collaboration, right? So when teams start collaborating, teams that were locked in silos start collaborating, we start seeing silo breaking.
Yeah.
And when you start breaking this silo, you start seeing aggregate paradigm shifts happening. And that is when you now then see that almighty cultural change emerge. So it comes from transparency. It comes from transparency leading to trust. Trust leading to collaboration that breaks down silos. And when that thing happens, you start having all this shit, because we now trust each other. There are no more silos. Then the cultural shift that people say is hard to do.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. However, if you follow this, if you allow this thing to flow the way I've just listed, it will flow in its normal cadence, right?
Mm.
Without having to have unnecessary, it's not easy to have a cultural, don't get me wrong. When we are as change analysts and change agents, it's not easy for cultural change. No matter where you are in the world, people don't like change as a result.
Yeah.
However, it starts with common sensical things like the leader taking the first step, the leader coming into, sometimes when you have a Gemba walk, you come into a meeting and you, like, for example, some not recent, about 2 years ago, where the leader came into a meeting of an impediment that has been there. So they kind of a scrum meeting.
Yeah.
And that has been a feature type impediment that has been there for quite a while. And he came in, and after they've had the conversation, he just raised his hand, and everybody was surprised to see him. And then said, "What is it?" And he kind of listed that to him. This impediment that has been there for roughly about almost a month was dealt with within 2 days. That is one of the major advantages when you have the leader there, and you need to ask yourself the question: what was causing the impediment delay, the eradication of the impediments, and the delay of the eradication of the impediments before the leader came in? Middle management, also cultural things,
bureaucracy,
my space, your space. So the person at the top comes in and slashes through. If you have leaders that are prepared to do that have the time to do that, transformation will take its normal course without unfortunate circumstances happening.
Well, you've said a lot of things in this time and space, and I mean, they make sense to me. But is it possible, because you said transformation is ideal when done in peacetime? How can you? It's almost like saying you time the markets. Yes, because there are other people, many organizations that have admitted, for example, the pandemic accelerated their transformation per se.
Accelerated, but many of them died. We have unforeseen circumstances that you cannot help that, right? Aliens landing on the planet and disrupting the whole thing. You cannot help that, right? Yeah. But I was saying that if you are given a time to select, so it's better for you to do it now before COVID is part of it, but you also have market disruptions as well, right? So the best time would be when you think just kind of stability, because it starts from a small team, then expands. So you want to make sure that team is not distracted by bigger factors that may be beyond the reach of the remediating powers of the leaders in the organizations, right? So that's giving. If you are giving, if you can help it. If you can't help it, start it as quickly as possible. But yes, it's better to have it started in peacetime. Awesome.
Thanks, Victor. I can see that you are quite passionate about what you're saying. So what books have you recommended to people about this topic or anything else, and why?
I have many books. The main book that for me has kind of created powerful insights in the way I do my work, the way I even see life. And one of them, the top one, is The Goal by
Elihu Goldratt. Yeah.
Then the other one is
Turn the Ship Around.
By David A.P.A.M.R.A.T.S. I can't remember. Sorry.
No, it's okay. We'll put it in the links.
I use that a lot, and it's just leadership. It should be about enabling a self-managing, self-organizing team. I mean, in the way we work nowadays, you can't know everything. And that was what the point was trying to say. As a captain, you're supposed to know how they work, but the details, there are experts that is within his reach, that the guys are the experts. So enable them to do the thing, and you just deal with it. And the third one will be, I just read this book. It's called Wisdom of the Crowd by James Sorowicki. He was saying that data shows that if you ask people to solve a problem, and a group of people from just non-experts, and you get the expert to predict that same problem, their answer will be close to the reality than the experts themselves. Why? I don't know. Maybe it aggregates knowledge of the crowd coming together rather than experts. And the other point he was making also is how the HIPPO's opinion, like when you have a team of engineers and the manager comes in that meeting and you ask a question of how do you think we can do this, and he gives his opinion first, his opinion is going to skew the answers of everybody else. So this is why it's important when you have a meeting and some people are there, let them be still, let us hear the opinions of the team, the other 9 members of the team, before if they need to give their opinion, right? Otherwise, we just have a skewed opinion, and that opinion will not be the best for that particular question. So that The Wisdom of the Crowd is another very good book.
Thank you. So there are 3 books: The Goal, Turn That Ship Around, Wisdom of the Crowds. So how can the audience find you or contact you?
You can get me WakandAGILITY.com. You can get me at Victor@WakandAGILITY.com. You can get me at LinkedIn. So Victor Nwadu, just type it there. You see me there.
Any ask for the audience or any final words, Victor?
Yes. Final last words, yes. Agile is real. Agile is here. And so be inspired, be prepared, be agile. First of all, you be inspired to change, to have that mindset, to adapt to your present circumstances. Be prepared for future disruptions, for anything, and be agile, right? That's it. Then you will definitely succeed. You will definitely live longer. You will definitely transcend all the challenges, all the COVID-19 type, even aliens coming to this world or whatnot.
So can we hold you to account for it? Can we take it to the bank saying Victor said, if we're inspired, prepared, and agile?
It will help.
No shaking.
It will help. It will help.
Okay.
I mean, from my experience in life, it will help. If you're inspired, you have to be inspired.
Yeah.
People that are not driven cannot achieve much. You need to be passionate about what you do. And then you need to be prepared. You need to prepare by having the skill set, challenge yourself to learn, constantly learning. Then be agile. All those things are with your mindset, where you think, having agile ways of doing things. Having a different mindset towards failure. When you fail, it doesn't mean you have, you've done anything bad or the end of the world. Failure is a sign that option is not going to work, and you've learned something new. You pivot and try a new one. So if we have that kind of mindset, we'll be innovating every year, every 6 months, every 3 months, if we have a different attitude towards failure. So be inspired, be prepared, be agile.
Thank you so much, Victor. It's been a pleasure having this conversation.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much, Ola.
The pleasure is mine.
That's all we have for now. Thanks for listening. If you like this show, do subscribe at www.agileinnovationleaders.com. That's agileinnovationleaders.com, or your favorite podcast provider. Also share with friends, and do leave a review on iTunes. This would help others find this show. I'd also love to hear from you, so please drop me an email at ola@agileinnovationleaders.com. Take care and God bless.